Ladies and most gentlemen, today we're going to talk about tier sets, more specifically the latest additions to the Black Temple raid being added in patch 7.2.5 of Legion. Now, as we all know, back in 2007 the World of Warcraft was a very different place. There was only 10 races and only 9 classes. These days there's a total of 13 races and 12 classes. So in Burning Crusade, Death Knights were a member of the Scourge armies, Demon Hunters were simply just killed in Shadowmoon Valley, and Monks, well, they were just a silly WoW meme. So now, with the addition of patch 7.2.5 on the PTR, Blizzard have decided to add Time Walking raids into the mix of Time Walking holidays. Now, if you don't know what Time Walking is, it's basically a small week-long holiday that allows people to queue up for old dungeons with their gear and levels scaled down to what it originally was back in that expansion. Currently, there are Time Walking events for Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm, and Mists of Pandaria. These dungeons drop Time Walking badges that can be used to buy gear from Time Walking vendors, and they also drop scaled up versions of the original gear from the dungeon, and it also has a small chance to drop Reigns of the Infinite Time Reaver from any boss, which is an amazing looking mount. So now, onto the topic of the video. As we all know, Black Temple originally dropped tier 6 tokens, but what the Time Walked version drops is a scaled up version of the actual set pieces themselves, but without the set bonuses. Currently on the PTR, they are item level 900, and it's been said that they'll be dropping down to 850 on release of this patch, but that's yet to be seen. So from Black Temple, you can obtain the chest, legs, and shoulder pieces for these new sets, as the other pieces of the set were dropped from Hydra and Sunwell, which haven't had the Time Walking treatment yet. So what Blizzard have done in this new patch is retrofit the new pieces of gear for these new classes that weren't around in the Burning Crusade. So if you want to obtain these 3 pieces of gear, you have to kill Mother Shiraz for the shoulders, the Illidary Council for the legs, and Illidan for the chest piece. I would imagine they're going to also retrofit the scaled down versions into the original Black Temple raid for all those level 70 twinks out there. So without further ado, let's check out these sets and I'll give you my thoughts and feelings on each one. So first up is the Death Knight set, and this is called the Undying Vigil set. And it is an exact replica of the set you build up while questing through the Death Knight starting area, which is super disappointing, as every high level Death Knight will already have this exact set in their appearance tab. The only exception to this is that if they've used a paid level boost, but that's not very many at all. Funnily enough, with the addition of the Tomb of Sargeras raid, they've added new tier 20 sets, which are pretty much just higher res versions of the original tier 6 sets, so I doubt it would have been much of a stretch for them to create a low res version of the Death Knight tier 20 set to match the rest of the tier 6s. So next up is the Monk set. This set is called the Broken Sage set, and it shares the same model as the Season 12 PvP gear from back in Mists of Pandaria. Now, at least with this one, not every monk will have this model in their appearance tab already. Although it's not breathtaking like some of the other shoulders in the tier 6 arsenal, like the Warlocks for example, it's still a unique model for new players and players that didn't partake in PvP back in Mists. And finally, the Demon Hunter. Now this one is by far the worst excuse for laziness that I've ever seen. Not only does this set identically match the set that you have on your Demon Hunter the moment you log in, it's actually got the exact same name as well. Obviously, there are only slight differences in colour between the Horde and Alliance, but this one by far takes the cake. I mean, to make this even slightly unique, they could have just simply gone onto like the transmog section of Wowhead and just found some awesome mix and match sets that someone's made and call it a set. Job done. So guys, that's my roundup and opinion of these sets that they've added. Now, to be honest, it is pretty early days on the PTR, so potentially they could just be placeholder models, but from the looks of it, I don't think they're going to be. So yes, I know you could argue that they didn't even have to go out of their way and do these sets at all. So for that, I'm thankful. And you'll probably argue the fact that Time Walking in general is not meant to be progressive content, and that it's just a bit of a side activity from your usual grinding and raids. But still, it would have been nice if they made some nice unique sets for these new classes, as they already feel pretty left out of old content anyway. So that's where I'm going to leave it today guys. Let me know in the comment section your thoughts on these sets, and if you have any suggestions on how Blizzard could improve upon them. Now I'd like to give a massive shout out to my patrons who pledged their hard earned money to me, especially Stefan Fanner, who was our patron of the video. So leave a like on this video guys if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't already. And with that, I'll see you next time.